You're listening to the Doctor Is In podcast, brought to you by MartinClinic.com. During the episode, the doctors share a lot of information. As awesome as the info may be, it is not intended to diagnose, cure, treat, or prevent any disease. It's strictly for informational purposes.
Well, good morning. I want to talk to you today about two new studies that just came out on the microbiome. That is the bacteria in your gut. Now, a little bit of background, you know us guys, and we're always talking about bacteria, the war that goes on between your good and bad bacteria. So, it's really important to emphasize this because Hippocrates, a couple of thousand years ago, the father of medicine, said that all diseases start in the gut. And you know what? I remember even in the early 1970s when I was in school, they used to laugh at that. Really, I mean, medicine laughed at the father of medicine. They didn't agree at all. Although they know that the gut was important, but it was never the seat of all disease. But you know what? Now we know so much more now about bacteria than we used to. And we realize that there's an actual war going on between good and bad. And the more good bacteria you have versus the amount of, it's like two warring armies. And if you have more good bacteria than bad bacteria, then you win in almost every health condition that you can think of. So there's a war going on inside of you, and it's always there, and you're always going to have that war going on. The idea is the more good you win than bad. You got to have a bigger army. Now, the microbiome is like an ecosystem in your body. And from the day you're in your mother's womb until the day you leave the planet, you've got trillions of bacteria, not billions, trillions. There are more bacteria in your body than there are cells in your body. And there are billions and billions of cells. Now, we've stated this at the Martin Clinic that in the last couple of years, we've sort of said that your microbiome is its own organ. It's an organ. And again, it's because of the importance of your microbiome, okay? So let me just give you the two studies that came out recently, and then I will just give you a few ideas on what causes the disruption in the gut, what causes the microbiome not to be proper ecosystem where you get more bad guys than good guys. We'll go over some of those, but let me, and then we'll tell you what to do about it. Now, let me just give you the two studies. One was a study on mice, and they tested the microbiome of healthy mice. They had a healthy ecosystem, meaning that more good than bad bacteria. And what they did is they introduced bad bacteria without introducing any good bacteria into the mice. And within a few, like the reason they do mice studies is because you get results very quickly, right? So if they age, they're going to age quickly. If there's inflammation, it comes out quickly. You know what happened? Within a few weeks of this mouse study, the mice started to show very high levels of inflammation. So they could test the inflammation markers and they went skyrocketing. Okay. Now, what's the significance of that? It has to do with the other study that was done in Germany on the microbiome. And the one in Germany recently published said this, that they tested the microbiome, the bacteria, in people with heart disease in Germany. They did an extensive study. It was well done. They just checked the bacteria of people in Germany with heart disease. You know what they found? They all had high inflammation due to leaky gut. So because these people in Germany, what's the connection between heart disease and leaky gut? The connection is if you have leaky gut, meaning you don't have enough friendly bacteria, you have too many bad bacteria inside the body, you might not even know it, because a lot of people, when they think of leaky gut, they're thinking of symptoms of digestion. Now, listen, a lot of people with leaky gut have a bad digestive tract, and they have, diarrhea, constipation, diverticulosis, IBS, Crohn's disease, acid reflux. But some people don't have any symptoms of leaky gut. The leaky gut symptoms, what happens with leaky gut is it causes inflammation. And then inflammation, look, I come back to this, and I hate to rant, but I'm going to rant again this morning. I have to. I got the can't help it's for ranting. Heart disease, are you listening? Is not caused by cholesterol. Okay? It's not caused by cholesterol. That's not true. Heart disease, stroke, heart attacks are caused by inflammation. Inflammation. Because if you kick me in the knee, my body's going to respond. It's going to send extra blood supply, extra enzymes, extra protein to the area. The ambulance is coming to my knee. It's going to help start healing. And if I rub my knee, the ambulance comes quicker. But what I'm talking about is a silent inflammation. You don't even know you have it. One of the tests that you can have done, and doctors don't do it regularly, is the CRP, C-reactive protein, because that'll tell you what your inflammation markers are. But inflammation never appears out of anywhere. It doesn't just come. There's always a reason for inflammation. One of the major causes of inflammation is leaky gut. Now, there's others like insulin and free radical damage, but for today's teaching, I'm going to stick to leaky gut. When you have more bad guys than good guys, you lose. Your body responds to see what happens. When you have more bad guys than good guys, inside your body, you start an infection. Because you know why? Your good guys are being outnumbered. So what happens inside your body? You guys should know this. You start to get an internal fungal infection, yeast, and your body sees it as an infection. So what does it do? It creates inflammation. The problem with inflammation is it starts to destroy your blood vessels. It's not meant to be there for a long period of time. And this is why leaky gut, leaky brain, leaky gut, leaky heart, leaky gut, leaky joints, leaky gut, leaky skin, all these things. And the people go, well, gee, I don't even have digestive issues. Doesn't matter. Yes, you do. It's in your gut. Depression, a lot of depression starts in the gut. You have more hormones in your gut than you have in your brain. So you have to make sure your gut has enough friendly bacteria, the good versus bad. So let's just talk for a couple of minutes here. What causes the dysbiosis? The dysbiosis is a big word, but what causes the imbalance between good and bad bacteria? What causes it? Number one, you know it, antibiotics. Number one, the greatest discovery of the 20th century is the curse of the 21st century. It kills your friendly bacteria. It kills your friendly bacteria. And I already talked many times about antibiotics, and just take your antibiotics for a few days and save them for when you really get a bad infection. And take probiotics with them and make sure that you replace, because otherwise you're going to get an imbalance. You won't know it. You won't feel it necessarily right away. But it's oftentimes a year or two down the road, you start to get either autoimmune, or you start to get rheumatoid arthritis, or you start to get MS, or you start to get lupus, or you start to get like those symptoms. A lot of it has to do with the overuse of antibiotics. It's one of the greatest tragedies of one of the greatest medicines that was ever discovered by the pharmaceutical industry. Listen, they do good things, but when it's overused, and doctors use antibiotics for a cold. I was talking to a young lady down here the other day, and I was, her child had an ear infection, and the doctor gave her an antibiotic. I said, well, listen, the best way to treat an ear infection is to take an antihistamine, like Robitussin or whatever, just for a few days, and some Tylenol, just to get the infection down. And then you can, it's viral. It's not bacterial. Now, so secondly, antibiotics, one of the greatest causes of dysbiosis, or this invisible war and killing your friendly bacteria. The other one is, we talked about it on another video, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like aspirin. I did a whole thing on aspirin the other day, and Advil, and Tylenol is not really a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, but acetaminophen, it changes your microbiome. It kills your friendly bacteria. So does the fake sugars, aspartame and Splenda and all those things. They kill your friendly bacteria. So quit drinking diet pop all the time. And fluoride in the water, that kills your friendly bacteria. So make sure you filter your water, that it has no fluoride in it. Or chlorine in a pool. You're not drinking that, I hope. Well, although the chlorine in a pool will kill your friendly bacteria on your skin, you see, because that friendly bacteria is everywhere. Bad diet, of course. You're feeding the bears. You're eating too much sugar. Sugar feeds the bad guys and kills the good guys. Sugar. Watch it. Read your labels. Quit eating sugar. Not fruit. Fruit doesn't kill your good bacteria, by the way. It doesn't. So, you can have fruit, unless you have, like the topic yesterday or the day before is uric acid. So be careful with uric acid. Toxins, like we live in a chemical induced world. They get into your body, plastics. These things get into the body, destroy the microbiome. And stress, by the way, stress changes the gut, because think of what stress does inside. Cortisol. It causes inflammation because your body's getting ready to fight or flight. And if it goes on for too long, it causes dysbiosis in the gut. And another one is excessive alcohol. Be careful with alcohol. Don't overdo it with alcohol. It kills your friendly bacteria, guys. Okay. So these are the things. Okay. So the two studies, isn't it incredible? So what do? Probiotics. Now, you know me, broad spectrum probiotics. If they don't have at least 10 different strains, they're not broad spectrum. You guys know me. I love soil-based probiotics because they're, unlike dairy probiotics, they last forever. You can't kill them. That's why you can bring them when you're traveling or whatever. Should everybody take probiotics? Absolutely. You're in a war. You don't even know it, but you're in a war. Okay? There's a war going on inside of your body that you're not unaware of because it's microscopic, but it's a war between good and bad. And probiotics helps feed your good army. Yeah? Probiotics. And yogurt ain't probiotics. Okay, so, Dr. Martin, I take yogurt every day. Well, good for you, but that ain't probiotics. As soon as they put up the temperature to 1200 degrees to pasteurize it, the probiotics are dead. You'd have to take, what did we say the other day? One of our capsules of probiotic, one capsule. You'd have to eat 16,000 yogurts. Come on. Now, I like fermented foods, okay? Like kombucha and, sauerkraut and stuff like that. Those are fermented foods, very, very good for you. Watch when you're with kefir, I don't know what you call it. Watch the sugars, because you get the store-bought kefir and they're adding sugars to it. Don't drink that stuff, because that's, even though it should be good for you, now they're adding sugar. You're just defeating the purpose of the taking the kefir, okay, if you're adding sugar to it. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching today. Share this with your friends. Okay, love you guys.
You've reached the end of another Doctor is In podcast with your hosts, Dr. Martin Jr. and Sr. Be sure to catch our next episode, and thanks for listening.